Hello everyone, my name is Devin Kilo, and today we are going to be beginning the first of hopefully many videos in the CAM tutorial series for the Auburn University Makerspace. Today we are going to be covering the setup and work coordinate system, as well as setting up your stock. So first off, when you open Fusion360, you should be in this window where you have some part or some file labeled untitled, and you're in the design tab. So first things first, we want to go ahead and import and upload our part and then open it. Because this is the Auburn University Makerspace, we are going to be certifying the CAM with the Auburn logo. And so if you'll notice, I'm using my middle mouse button to kind of pan around, and then shift and the middle mouse button to rotate like so. And your settings may be different depending on the selection that you've chosen for moving everything around, but typically it's that. So first, we're going to go from the design tab to the manufacturing tab. This is because we've already designed the part, and now we want to manufacture it. So we're going to right click on setups, hit new setup, and then that's going to propagate this little window over here on the right hand side. So we have two tabs that we're mainly going to be focused on today, the setup and the stock tab. We're not going to really worry about the post process today. So first things first, we want to go ahead and set up our work coordinate system. Right now you can see right here, we have the Z moving from left to right and the X moving back and forth with the Y moving up and down. That is not how our CNC router interprets its work coordinate system, so we want to get it to match the one that we have for the CNC router. So we're going to go in here, hit Z axis / plane and X axis. Then we're going to select our Z axis / plane. Then it's automatically going to move on to the X axis selection. So we're going to choose something that represents the X axis. And now you can see that our work coordinate system has moved with X axis being left to right like we selected, and Z axis being up and down. If you will notice that the Z axis is pointing down, the X to the left, we need to flip that to match with what the CNC router interprets as its work coordinate system. So we're going to flip our X and flip our Z using these two buttons right here. Next, we're going to select where our origin wants to be, and you can really put your origin anywhere. It's relatively arbitrary as long as it is accessible to the outside of the stock. Obviously, you don't want to select something in here for your origin because that's not cut out yet. You can't zero off of that. But we're going to click stock box point, and we're going to pick this bottom left location on the top of the stock, just because it's going to be easiest to get to from where we set the stock up on the CNC router. So that's it for the setup tab. Next, we're going to move into the stock tab. The stock is this yellow, beige, khaki colored box that you see around our model, and we already have dimensions set up for the stock for the CNC router certification. It's going to be 8 by 6 by 0.75 inches, and so that's the dimensions we're going to set our stock to. And notice we picked fixed size box, even though there's a ton of options that you have here to choose from. And also, if you'll notice, there are these model position tabs. You can center it from the X, or from the left centered or right side. Now what that does is if you center it from one side, you can choose an offset. And so if I have 0 offset from the positive X side, it's going to move it all the way along this wall of the stock right here. So for the X and Y, we want both of them to be centered. And for the Z, we're going to offset from the bottom Z by 1 thou. And now what that's going to do is account for the thickness of the tape that we will use to secure this face to the router bed. Last thing I want to point out is that your stock dimensions should always be bigger than your model dimensions. If they're not, then your model is not going to fit in your stock, and you're not going to get accurately and correctly machined models. So now that we have this, we're going to go back and check everything, make sure everything looks good, and always double check that your stock in here matches the stock in real life. That's very important. So double or triple check that before you actually run the CAM on the CNC router. And then now we're going to hit OK. And you'll notice the work coordinate system has established itself in the origin that we have placed, and the stock is completely surrounding the model in the dimensions that we have specified. And that's going to be it for this video. Next video, we're going to kind of get into some of the machining operations that you have the ability to do, and we'll go from there. All right.